What is up guys, it's Swellheim here, back with another Wrath of the Lich King Classic video. Today we're talking about Wrath of the Lich King preparations, and more specifically we are talking about economical preparations for Wrath of the Lich King Classic. In other words, investments. Investments in this scenario are basically items that you can buy right now in TBC Classic that has the potential to increase in value in Wrath of the Lich King. The reason why it will increase in price is different from item to item. Some are almost useless right now and way more useful in Wrath of the Lich King, directly affecting the price because of a more relevant use case, while other items are just as useful in Wrath of the Lich King as they currently are in TBC Classic, and will therefore increase in value over time directly because of inflation. I will make another video in the near future going over my profit from my classic investments going into TBC, but believe me when I say that investing is probably the easiest and the best way of making gold. It just requires you having some starting capital. In Classic WoW, I farmed up 1000 gold, and I invested 1000 gold and made 9 times profit, directly turning 1000 gold into 10,000 gold, and going into TBC Classic, I did something similar. The profit margins are absolutely massive if you are early enough. Throughout my TBC videos over the last year, I have left small hints at which items are worth investing in, some of which have once again gone up in price, over 10x, giving you a massive return on your investment, and I have once again made thousands of gold directly with investments. But if you don't want to spend hours going through my videos looking for those small hints, I have compiled all of my Wrath investments into my gold guide, which you can find a link to in the video description down below and the pinned comment, where I show you all of the items that I am investing in right now and which items will be worth investing into during Wrath. The guide contains more than 85 pages of pure gold making information, and by purchasing the guide you will also receive all of the future updates for free, and I will constantly update the guide to keep you guys up to date with the most relevant gold making information. You can also use the code Solheim for 50% off. Now let's dive into investments. Herbs for inscription. I don't really have any specific herbs that I can recommend you that you invest into here, but what I would do is search up all of the specific herbs within each type of inscription pigment, which you can see on the screen right now, and invest into the cheapest herb in each category. Old world herbs will absolutely skyrocket in price when inscription becomes available, which will most likely be in the Wrath of the Lich King pre-patch. We already saw this in the TBC pre-patch, where materials used to skill up jewel crafting skyrocketed to the moon, and the same is bound to happen with inscription. Next up, old world enchanting materials, mainly for heirloom gear but also for twinks, so for example the Crusader weapon enchant, spell power weapon enchants and chest enchants, usually the stat enchant for chest, or the plus 100 health. Grabbing the materials for bracer enchants and glove enchants could also be really useful, and enchant those onto a white item, as people can use those from level 1 to 30 before getting any decent upgrades. In this scenario, here are my investments. Large brilliant shards, these are used in the Crusader enchant, as well as the bracer enchant for spell power, and the chest enchant for greater stats, and they are also used in the spell power weapon enchant. You could also grab the Essence of Air, which is currently extremely cheap, and is used in the agility weapon enchants. Greater Eternal Essence, these are used in the spell power weapon enchant, and you can also break these down into lesser Eternal Essences, which are used in the spell power bracer enchant. Illusion Dust, this is used in pretty much every enchant, and is also incredibly cheap at the moment. Righteous Orbs, you need 2 of these for each Crusader enchant. Golden Pearls, you need 2 of these for each spell power weapon enchant, which will be really useful for, well, both twinks and heirlooms for alts. Also, Greater Planner Essences from TBC for the plus 15 agility glove enchant, useful for twinks and alt leveling, by enchanting it onto a white pair of gloves, and this one also requires small prismatic shards and primal air, so those could also be worth investing into as well. Small note here is that small prismatic shards are also used in the other glove enchants, like the spell power glove enchants, which are also useful. That being said though, small prismatic shards will be farmed by several classes in Wrath, as people will turn to boosting TBC dungeons, as well as farming them for raw gold, so this one could be a bad investment, unless you can get them incredibly cheap. Speaking of old world enchanting materials, leveling up alts and twink items, that is the next category for investments that I want to talk about, twink items. Personally, I mainly focus on the level 19 twink bracket, but the level 29 and 39 brackets could also become massive, but historically the level 19 bracket has always been the biggest one. Therefore, I am investing into items that are proven best in slot in that bracket, usually for rogues, hunters and healers, which are the most played classes in that bracket. The more rare the item, the more profit potential it has, so for example Assassin's Blade and Shadowfang have huge potential, but also items such as Feet of the Lynx. Personally, I am more of a fan of zone-specific drops than world drops, because the less supply there is for the item, the more value it has, so Shadowfang and Assassin's Blade are my top picks. One more really obvious investment that I have mentioned before, but will mention again just so this is a complete investments video, black diamonds. If you can get these for under 25 silver each, you are directly making a profit, as you can cut these into gems that vendor for 25 silver each in Wrath. Last but not least, flame caps. I've talked about these before in videos from over a year ago, which I will leave a link to in the video description just for proof or whatever, but I've basically told you guys to invest in these ever since before TBC even launched. I farmed these on the TBC beta, and I knew that these have been used on Wrath private servers for years. Flame caps are a consumable item that increases your fire spell damage, and it can even proc a fire damage effect, which scales very well with haste and direct fire damage. This consumable is wanted by every Destruction Warlock and Fire Mage in Wrath, and Fire Mages become more and more attractive from phase 2 and onwards. You might also notice that flame caps only have a 1 minute duration, and they are incredibly difficult to farm, as you can only farm them inside Sangremarsh, or the dungeons located in Sangremarsh, like the Coil Scar dungeons, and flame caps are a rare spawn of Ragvale. With the direct inflation from Wrath, Fire Mages and Destruction Warlocks will be willing to spend the gold on these instead of farming them, because it simply will not be worth the time farming them by hand. The actual profitability on these will vary from server to server, and it all depends on the competitive raiding scene on your server, as well as the speedrunning meta on your server. If there is a lot of speedrunning and hardcore raiding going on, these will be in demand, and just to put my money where my mouth is, I've told you guys to invest into these since before TBC even came out, and over the lifetime of TBC Classic, I've bought over 3,000 of them. Keep in mind I also took a massive break from TBC Classic, but outside of that 3 to 4 months break, I've been buying these non-stop, and I honestly wish I didn't take that break so I could have bought more of them for a ridiculously cheap price. Using TSM accounting, you can see that I've currently purchased over 3,700 of them, with an average buying price of 68 silver each, and right now they are over 2.5 gold each, and that is before people have really started investing into them for Wrath. But yeah, that is pretty much it for my Wrath of the Lich King investments. Once again, do make sure you check out my Wrath of the Lich King Gold Guide for even more investments that I really can't show in this video, and for early access to investments in Wrath as well. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments down below which items you are investing in for Wrath. That is pretty much it though, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.